The Nigerian Bar Association section on Public Interest and Development Law has announced that its annual conference will take place at Citadel Complex, Oregun, Ikeja from June 20 to 23. According to a press statement on Saturday signed by Monday Ubani, chairman NBA Spidol, this conference will attract lawyers and judges from various states of the Federation. The theme of the conference is Post-Election Nigeria, the Judiciary in the Eye of the Storm, and it promises to be an intellectual feast featuring eminent jurists from the bar and bench. Joining us now on the morning show is Monday Ubani, chairman, NBA Spidol. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Morning.
Well, thank you for joining us, Dr. Ubani. This is your last tour of duty.
That's right.
As chairman of the NBA Spidol. The judiciary, as the theme indicates, is truly in the eye of the storm. But tell us about what you have for this year's conference taking place in Lagos. What is the theme? What is the priority? Who are the people who will be there? What are your expectations?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you once again. As you already pointed out, this is my last conference as the chairman of Spidol. I started off 2 years ago with Oyo conference, and then last year we were in Abuja. And this year we are in Lagos. This is where I reside and practice my law. So I met the former Attorney General of Lagos, and I pleaded with him that, look, we should be able to hold Spidol conference here in Lagos. Yeah, Mondi Banjo, yes. And he really, concurred and approached His Excellency, who graciously said, look, we should hold a conference here in Lagos. And so on 20th, we're starting on 20th, his arrival date, we will start the conference here in Lagos. The CJ of Lagos State, Honorable Justice Kazim Alogba, is hosting us to a cocktail in the night of 20th. Then on 21st, that is the opening program, we will be expecting the CJN of the Federation, His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, and of course my own State Governor in the person of Dr. Alex Oti. I have extended invitation over to him, and some of the legislators from Abia State. And some of the legislators here in Lagos, I have also extended that invitation. So the team, as you have announced, is post-election Nigeria, the judiciary in the eye of the storm. The electoral process is about to be concluded. The first in the hierarchy is usually registration of voters. Second is the election proper announcement. The third is resolution of any dispute that may arise from the electoral process. And so we are the last lap of that now. And everyone is paying attention closely to what is going on at the various election petition tribunals. And what we expect is that the judiciary should be bold enough to dispense justice, to look at the complaints of those who failed to agree with the outcome, and then look at whether there is compliance with the Electoral Act, the guidelines, and then give judgment that will meet the aspirations of those who have approached the court for justice. So, as I said, it is the last lap, and we are hoping that the judiciary will come out strong with meeting the expectation of the people who have actually approached the court for justice.
Absolutely. Now, as you've mentioned, a very apt theme. A number of people there have been a number of criticisms with regards to the judiciary and the role they play in election cycles. Yeah. And I'm sure that would be top on the agenda in your conversations. I'd like you to share with us some of the key themes, key sub-themes in terms of your plenaries or conversations that you'd be having at this conference. That's one. And then two is, I don't know if we'll have the opportunity to have you on the show again in your capacity as chairman. So just an opportunity to highlight some of your key successes in your tenure.
Yeah, I think that everything we're going to discuss in this conference, as I said earlier, revolve around the judiciary. In fact, almost everything we have done so far, even last year, we are looking at the issue of judiciary, how people want to mess up the judicial powers. And if you have the judiciary that is very functional in a society, and they are apt and doing what their responsibilities are, then you find out that that society will be a society where there will be law and order, and then where there will be sanity. But when you mess up your judiciary, then you are messing up the entire system. So all attention all the time for us in public interest is on judiciary. Having a strong judiciary that is independent, that is autonomous, that also the recruitment process we must look into because it's an issue. Yes. If you have all the big men recommending their daughters and wives into the judiciary, you have the kind of thing we're having, you know, of the kind of revelation that came out recently and all that. So we must be careful with the recruitment process, make it to be very strict, make it to be on merit, and then let the people that actually desire to be at the bench be the ones that should be there. And not every person that because of the fact that he knows this person, then you now put him in the bench, and he goes to mess up the system. So all attention has always been on our judiciary. And I believe that when we get it right, half of our problem as a nation would be resolved. Because if somebody knows that he does anything wrong and the matter is brought before the judiciary, and judiciary said, no, this is wrong. You go to prison for doing the wrong thing. This land does not belong to you. You have trespassed on it, and judgment is given boldly. You find out that those who do certain things wrong will now be very afraid. Not a situation where somebody does anything wrong and say, go to the court, because he knows that the court is not strong enough to dispense justice. So we want to really build a strong judicial system in the country. It's an arm of government that I believe that if we get it right, virtually everything that we are suffering as a nation will be a thing of the past. That is my belief. You know, if you have a strong judiciary, independent, bold, not looking at any person's face, not looking at your pocket, not looking at your status, not looking at where you come from, but purely based upon the fact that this man deserves justice or this woman deserves justice, and you get it. Everyone will be very, very, appropriate in taking certain measures that will ensure that you do the right thing in the country and in the system. That's my belief. So virtually everything we're talking about revolves around judiciary, even with the sub-teams, yes.
Right. I'd like you to wade in on this Bulkachuwa debacle.
Yes.
Somebody said something. I've seen some people try to argue in favor of him. They even talk about legislative privileges and all sorts of arguments and all of that. As we speak today, I am not sure that the NJC have been able to take a look at this. What is really going on in this country? Do we have a country that we're practicing democracy, or what I would like to coin paddy-paddy-cracy? Government of your friends, by your friends, and for your friends. Why have we not seen a strong reaction based on the unsolicited, underline, confession? And let's go back to context. The man said what he said because he was trying to tell other lawmaker colleagues that all of you sitting down here, I helped you, and you know yourself. You know how you came to me. You know you are here. But till today, firm is the reaction we've gotten. What kind of democracy is this? I want you to wade in strongly into this.
I'm sure that the president of Senate was also shocked with that coming out from a member of his chamber, I mean from the same house. And that's why he had to cut him short and say, what are you saying? It was really unsolicited confessional statement of what happens in the bedroom, you know, of a senator and that of his wife, who was once the president of Court of Appeal. I tell you that everyone was totally shocked, especially within the judiciary and even the legal profession generally. Of course, you heard, I'm sure you're aware of the president's of Nigerian Bar Association remark, and also request that the IGP and other security agencies should weigh in. Because if it's a sane country, very major decision that woman would have probably presided over will be looked into to know whether there has been any level of compromise. That's how things have been done. If the husband has said, look, I helped some of you, so all those high-profile cases that the woman presided over would be investigated. They go through it. Who could have benefited from, because it's an allegation, but you need investigation before you can now probably jump to final conclusion. It was a very shocking revelation that no sane society will allow it to go by, you know, sweep it under the carpet. Something has to be done by looking at some of the decisions the woman would have reached, especially on high-profile cases, to know whether there has been compromise here and there. Nobody is keeping quiet. NBA have spoken, and some of the senior lawyers have also spoken. So we will probably get a reaction from the concerned authority. NJC is there, and it's being presided over by somebody now that is highly intelligent. The CJN is a very intelligent man who also believes that we must get a judiciary that is functional and also very, very impartial. I'm sure that's something we give way concerning that revelation.
Okay, since we're talking about current issues within the polity, what's the position of Speedel? Since Speedel is about public interest and development of the law, on the suspension of Emefiele, and also, you know, the suspension and the detention of the chairman of the EFCC.
Yes, you know, some people have argued that the president cannot suspend these officers, you know, because of the tenure of their employment. And there is no provision in the various acts establishing those positions that there is room for suspension. It's only removal. Now, if you appoint, you take it to the state senate for concurrent. Now, if you want to remove them, you also have to go to the senate. That's permanent removal. But suspension is never provided for. Now, the rule is that if you have power to appoint, you also have power to suspend. Especially when there is allegation against that individual of any malfeasance or any malpractice or any abuse of power, you have to put that person aside. Meanwhile, carry out an investigation before you can take the final decision of final removal or prosecution. So if you go to court over this over this suspension, I can assure you that the court will say, look, the president has the right to suspend. But what we in Speedel will not want is the issue of infringement of rights. When we advocate that rights must be respected, it's irrespective of individual. We believe that every individual must have his right respected. Even if you're a convict, you must have your right respected. The Constitution guarantees you all those fundamental human rights. Now, having arrested them, we don't believe in indefinite detention. And that's why we're different from developed economies. Before they pick you, before they rein you in, they would have completed almost 90% of the investigation. So the next thing that you come in, make your statement, they charge you to court. But here in Nigeria, you arrest and you now begin to seek for incriminating evidence and then probably engage in an unorthodox manner of extraction of confessional statement. That is clearly a violation of somebody's right. So my take is that you have arrested them now. If you have any evidence of any wrongdoing, charge them to court. Don't put them in an indefinite detention. That is not allowed under democracy. And I know that the president, who has come under a democratic election, will not allow anyone to be unduly detained. So something must be done in order to charge them to court or release them. Again, it also brings the issue of propriety of DSS now taking over the responsibility of the Nigerian police. What is really the issue with the Bawa? If it is issue of financial abuse or whatever the things are, can DSS be the one to investigate such allegation? Couldn't it be Nigerian police? The same thing with MFL, unless it's issue of terrorism. If it's issue of any financial abuse, I think we should not take away the responsibility of the Nigerian police and now put it in the office of DSS. That again is something that is I'm beginning to see under this new administration that we need to correct immediately. DSS cannot investigate ordinary crime. It has to do with state security. That is what their responsibilities are. Not issue of financial crime or any abuse of office. I see no reason why DSS should be the one involved. But most importantly is the issue of respect to rights. We must not allow them to violate their right and put them in an indefinite detention. That again is something I clamor should not allow to be allowed to happen. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for weighing in on these matters and, of course, speaking to us on the NBA Speedel conference taking place next week. We've had Dr. Monday Ubani, Chairman, NBA Section on Public Interest and Development Law.